Thank you for
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
Who says I'm gay? And then what was their mouths? Yeah, pale power. We have returned to the 40s to discover the roots of success. Speaking of roots, how about those African kids, huh?
You are gay. You are...
you are gay. $17 to poop and pee all over these women. Oh look, it's a yellow-headed, pink-tailed booby. Ooh, whoa. I don't want to suck that guy's dick. Look at him. He's got the little belly. He's got the grown man tits. What the hell? Hey. It's time for fun facts. And then what is this? This is a video? Oh, they're Muslim. I see. Hello, and welcome to Pandering Hour. I am your host, Anthony Martin, and today, we're going to go back to Russia. I know we just did Russia 2 episodes ago, and I just kind of like glazed over some stuff. But that was also right before Tucker Carlson went to Russia and did this big interview with Putin. And so I'm going to go back and just react to it. That's today's podcast. We're just going to be going back over what's happening in the media, what's popular, so I can get more views and likes. Yeah, give him to me. I want it. Coffee's so good. Okay, so first thing I noticed while I was lining up these videos for you guys, it's very, very hard to get just like the correct video. It's really strange. So let me show you what Google's doing to me. So I pull up Google, right? And I go Tucker Carlson interview. The Guardian, The View, First Post, YouTube, and then Tucker Carlson's website, which I get it. These other sites have more weight than Tucker Carlson does as an individual with his own network. By the way, I should probably preface this with, I should probably preface this whole thing by saying that I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Republican. I am a human being. I just so happen to be American. And that sounds really that doesn't articulate it well enough, really. How should I phrase this? I am exhausted. I am exhausted by politics. I am exhausted by politics. When you start to tell me that, like, these are the rules, I just start checking out mentally. I mean, why would anyone be interested in this? You know, I used to think politicians were losers when I found out how much money they make. I'm like, they make as much as a doctor? And it requires all this stuff, and you're a public servant, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. And they didn't always make $200,000. I think they made doctors made big wages, and then they dwarfed politicians. That's what I learned as a kid. And so I'm like, a doctor's a way better job than a politician. And plus, politicians are just like, people just tell them what to do. People just tell politicians, like, hey, you gotta change these laws, and it sounds like a horrible thing to be. And now that I'm older, and I find out that politicians often have, their net worth is several million, which is pretty impossible, and somehow their income isn't taxed. It's disgusting. It frustrates me. It makes me really upset when I hear about what politicians get away with, and that's across the board. That's not left or right. That's all of them. All of them are working in their own self-interest. And if it's in their own self-interest to be on one party or the other, that's what they do. And you see it happen with like the political commentary, like the entertainers, like Tucker Carlson, who they just jump from left to right depending on who's got more bread. And it to me has always been a symbol of those without honor, of those who are not worthy in society. They're pathetic, they're leeches, they're weak. And I thought this even when I was a kid. I'm like, they're just kind of they have to exist because the government has to exist. And if they have to exist because the government has to exist, they're just a waste. They're just a waste of all our money. And I realized yesterday that the purpose of America is to somehow get a hold of taxpayer money. Whatever you do, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a politician, whether you're in the government, whether you're a soldier, you're a general, you're an immigrant, you need to figure out how taxpayer money can work for you. And that seems to be what everyone's goal is. Elon Musk, he has subsidies from the government that help fund Tesla, help reduce the price of his Tesla so more people can buy them so he makes more money. Subsidies on gas. Like, getting a subsidy is one of the biggest things that you can get because it lowers the price in America. Anyway, so that's how I feel about politics. I feel like this stupid, boring job of being a politician gave people the ability to not circumnavigate, but to just go around the people and decide what's best for us. And the people who would take that job are fucking rats and weasels. They're scum. That's how I feel about politicians. And then there's the occasional Bernie Sanders who's a genuine leader. But Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the same to me. They're just, one talks a little bit crazier than the other. One's a little bit funnier. One's funny on purpose, one's funny on accident. Alright. Got heated. I'm sweating a little bit. But that's what you should know. Is that I just think they're all leeches on our lives. I mean, just think about how much money. Imagine having 10% of your income back. I live in Portland. Imagine, I get taxed like 30%. And that's the gayest thing about this place. It's the gayest thing about Portland. Okay. Enough about taxes. Enough about politics. Although this whole thing is going to be political. I'm very interested in doing a deep dive into what's going on in other countries. That's the whole point of this podcast. So we're going to learn about what's really going on in Russia in a way that I couldn't do in my episode, and I'm going to react to it. Obviously, it's through Tucker's skewed perspective, because he has a point, and I don't. Now, like I was saying earlier, Google makes it very hard to get a hold of this interview. And even if I go to YouTube, like interview to Tucker Carlson, YouTube, and let's go back to the news. Let's go to news. Tucker Carlson faces backlash over Putin interview after Navalny death. This guy died. The horrors of Tucker Carlson. Yeah. How does this connect? Tucker Carlson really might want to rethink about how much he loves Moscow. And it's just so skewed of just like making Tucker Carlson out to be a traitor. And let me calm down. Let's jump over into the grocery shopping video. And that's what really got me going when it comes to this. And I had to find it on Reddit.
Of Cold War propaganda in the West was the Soviet grocery store. No products.
Tucker Carlson's just going to go shopping in a Russian grocery store. Watch this.
No choices, shoddily made things. And it wasn't actually propaganda, it was real. And you can look up the pictures on the internet if you want. So we thought it would be interesting to take a look at a contemporary, modern day, 2024 Russian grocery store 2 years into sanctions. Here we go.
Like, look at these. They look just like Americans. They're walking around on their phones.
Here we go.
Love this idea. Love the shopping cart. You put in money to take out the shopping cart. You get your money back. Oh my God, do I love that idea. Man, Oh,
So I guess you put in 10 rubles here, and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
This is the grocery cart escalator. This is designed, I'm figuring this out now, where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator.
That is better than what we have now. Like there is a, if you've ever been in like a multi-story Target has these like separate escalators for your shopping cart, and to have two escalators, one for the cart, one for the people, just doesn't make any sense.
Retail placement here is a little bit different. So it's like walking through Macy's to get to Whole Foods, and we're going to see what the selection is, and we're going to see what it costs. Now, Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well.
And I think this is what irritates me at my core, is like I'm watching this video and I'm waiting for the part for people to not look American. You know, I'm watching this video of people in Russia thinking, at what point do they stop being people and start being Russians? And that never happens. At no point. And I look at it and they go, oh, they're also struggling to get food. They're also struggling with the decisions of people in their government ruining their lives. For what? Like the people, like we're not starving in America. Why are we going to war? People aren't starving in Russia. Why are they going to war? What is the point? Like, and it's all, I understand this game of subterfuge and espionage, but that's them and not us, the people. And I get that from, listen, I work as an apartment community manager. If you live in an apartment complex, the people who work in the office probably think you're a dumbass. It's just, and I just think that the government must think the same way. They must look at us like they don't understand. They don't get it. We got to do this and that, and we're so busy. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not, in my job, I never have control over another person's life. And not to the degree of these people. And I, even being in control of 200 lives, feel like, and that's very mild control, feel terrible with every rent increase. I feel terrible with every decision that makes the people's lives harder. Every eviction, every time I have to go to court, I feel like a Nazi. And so the fact that these people actually might be whatever you think a Nazi is, they might be that. And it's wild that I've been blind to it this whole time. Ever since I was a kid, like I was saying earlier, like, oh, these people are losers. No, they're not losers. They're rat fucks controlling everything.
The low-carb lifestyle is not sweat.
By the way, I know how that sounds, and my brother thinks the earth is flat, so I'm pretty aware of how a manic, paranoid person sounds. I'm not. I'm trying not to be. I'm very aware. I know that it runs in my family. I'm trying not to be crazy. So let's lighten things up. You know, let's watch Tucker get some bread. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good.
Swept Russia. Thank heaven, because look at that. It's fresh too. Look at that. Oh, come on. Unicorn.
I would like to know what their bread smells like.
Mini Mills. All right. Some kind of Russian wheat cookies. Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you. Base, but also is this. You check out of a grocery store and you.
Like, it looks clean. It looks nice. Of
razor
course, this is
blades
in
and
Moscow.
Actually, they hide the razor blades because we steal them. But these are all seem to be Western products: Mars, Twix, Snickers, Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Hall's cough drops, Mentos. We're guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States, buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over.
And I think. Let's continue. I have a thought.
and we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US.
This
here.
is the part of this whole thing where I was watching it, just curious to see what another country's lifestyle is like. I feel very similarly to how he describes it.
And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought, corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.
Yeah. He doesn't need to say that, though. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all. We're totally not lying. Totally. And that's no lie. A little goofy to say, and I think detracts from the point. But, yeah, radicalized against our leaders is definitely how I felt for a very long time. I mean, I did have some interest in going into politics because I thought, like, you know what could help the most people? Probably being president. And I think being president could help the most amount of people in this country. But I think that's where I'm limiting it, is this country. I don't know. But, damn, you know, I had a point on something that was going on in that video, and I completely forgot it. So we're just going to move on to the next one. Because I do want to see this whole interview with Putin.
It's infrastructure, the places where people gather, the places where they go to travel. If you've got a lot of people in one place, it tells you a lot about the people. So with that in mind, we're standing in front of the Kievskaya metro station, and there's a train station next to it. Now, the metro station was built by Joseph Stalin 70 years ago. And the question is, how's it doing now, after 70 years? So we went into it to take a look, and what we found shocked us.
Here we go.
Now, that's not an endorsement of Stalin, who was bad, obviously, nor is it an endorsement of the current president, Vladimir Putin. You may not like him either.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change.
Yeah. Georgia and a lot of places in the South are very nice. They have beautiful parts of. They have some of the most beautiful parts of this country. Deeply entrenched in slavery. Onward.
Change the reality of what we saw, or more precisely, didn't see. There's no graffiti. There's no filth. There are no foul smells. There are no bums or drug addicts or rapists or people waiting to push you onto the train tracks and kill you. No. It's perfectly clean and orderly. And how do you explain that? We're not even going to guess. That's not our job.
I remember what I was going to say earlier. It seems like, to me, where this country's going is our leaders want to live in a first world country and have a third world workforce. And because we have decided that having a third world workforce in another country is bad, they're making us the third world workforce. They're just diminishing us to the point where, you know, we're living like that. And I know life is still very, very good. I mean, I think I live like a king. I live with opulence to a degree that people have hardly gotten to experience other than in modern times. But it's being diminished gradually.
We're only going to ask the question. And if your response is to shout at us slogans dumber than the slogans we used to call Soviet and mock, that's not really an answer. How does Russia, a country we're told is a gas station with nuclear weapons, have a subway station that normal people use to get to work and home every single day that's nicer than anything in our country? We're not going to speculate. We're just going to raise the question and wait for someone in charge to give us an answer. What is?
That's what I've been saying. I don't think there's any point in being in this country anymore. I think you got to leave. I really do think Americans need to start leaving America. And I think that they're prioritizing people who will do the work like, a third world workforce rather than us. And that's all of us. I mean, my mom was born in Mexico and then moved to the United States as a child. But, like, I'm not that articulate. Shouldn't I be worth something? Is my mom worth something? Where's the worth? Is it, like, how many generations of people do we need to have here before you consider them to be American? And is it because we have such intense immigration that we can't value every citizen, every participant in this country because there's no way to police, like, oh no, you're an immigrant, you don't get it, because we don't make a distinction between immigrants and citizens, it seems like. There's like a select few things that citizens have over immigrants. One big one is obviously work visas. I mean, I know people who have lost their jobs just because their visa hasn't gotten renewed or they're waiting for it to get renewed. I don't like this. I don't like talking about politics because this is politics. But politics to me, it just means rules. I just want freedom. That's all I want, really. And I feel like my freedom is diminished.
That's the answer. So we'll stop the lecture and let you take a look for yourself at what the Kievskaya metro station in Moscow, Russia looks like today, February 2024, in the middle of a war. Here it is.
Feels so Disney-like Beauty and the Beast. It's really nice. All right, that's enough. Okay. So, exclusive Tucker Carlson interview with Putin. Before I jump into that interview, I think it would only be fair to see, I did see a lot of stuff that's like anti-Tucker, anti-Putin. So I want to look at some of those things. Wow. Putin roasts Tucker Carlson even more after that pathetic interview. That is a strong take, especially from a news outlet. That's a Tucker Carlson interview. First three things all make Tucker Carlson look like a fucking idiot. Tucker Carlson really might want to rethink how much he loves Moscow. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson is facing a fresh wave of criticism over his controversial interview. I mean, that one seems pretty middle. Surprised Vladimir Putin delivers savage verdict on Tucker Carlson after interview. Why was Tucker Carlson's Putin interview the first time Americans heard the Russian viewpoint? Okay. Hasan on Tucker. I saw some of that. Tucker glazes Russia. That was the title. Tucker continues to glaze Russia.
Try Intuit TurboTax for expert help in one.
I'm not endorsing TurboTax. TurboTax can go fuck themselves. I like H&R Block, honestly. I don't know what Alani New is, but she's fucking too skinny for me. Listen. I don't write this podcast, okay? I just show up.
Bad dude. He's a bad dude, okay? Not if you ask Tucker Carlson. Vladimir Putin is a very bad dude.
I agree with that. I don't think he's a good dude either.
Bad dude, okay? Not if you ask Tucker Carlson, though. Tucker Carlson's... here to glaze up Vladimir Putin. He's done enough. Tucker Carlson literally, one, executes Navalny, then turns his ass around and
Leadership requires killing people. That is true. That is something I agree with. I don't value human life that much. Just, I think we all have the right to freedom, but some people will use that freedom for terrible things. Some people use that freedom and just blow up to 500 pounds, which is, it's a harmful thing to yourself and the people around you. Some people will use their freedom to be a leech on their families. Some people use that freedom to cheat. I mean, look at all the things that have happened with crypto. Tons of freedom, tons of cheating, tons of bamboozling your fellow American. The Wolf of Wall Street. I fucking hate that guy because he's a fucking cheater. He stole people's retirement money and just bought a fucking yacht with it or whatever he did. And in return, they got penny stocks.
starts making vlogs in Russia. What a fall off this guy has had.
Long-standing feature, maybe the
That's not a fall off. That's legitimate journalism. Like, hey, they say this place is a piece of shit. I'm there. It doesn't seem like it.
longest-standing feature of Cold War propaganda in the West
I'm
was
reacting
the
to Hasan reacting to
Soviet grocery store. No products, no choices.
We're gonna skip over
shoddily
this.
made things, and it wasn't actually propaganda.
Describing as deflation. But it's so weird. Like, do you know what the wages look like in Russia, my boy? What
This is
the
something
fuck
I
are
was
you
wondering
saying?
about.
Bro, he's literally like those lifestyle influencers that go to Bali, right? And they're like, here's what I do as a work from home Instagram model. I moved to Bali, and for $100, I live in a chateau with slaves. And it's like, yeah, no, dog. It's a much poorer country. The f do you mean?
If you take people's standard of living and you tank it,
Okay. That is another thing. It's I think maybe what we could be going through is like, because there's so much opportunity here in America, you have access to Americans, which in itself is a huge boon of wealth. I mean, an American passport is the most valuable passport in the world. Let me verify that.
through
What country has the most valuable passport? There is such a thing as passport power ranking, and spoiler alert, U.S. passport isn't at the top. Citizens in 6 countries are now considered to have the world's most powerful passports: Japan, Singapore, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. Okay. I was wrong. But still, having an American passport is huge. If you're an American citizen, you have access to tons of benefits like Social Security, which actually you don't have anymore, but whatever.
filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want. At that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people.
The average monthly salary in Russia is like $750 or so. 4 weeks of this will be over $400, barely affordable with other monthly costs.
Lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway.
Dude, what is happening? That's so weird. Isn't he supposed to be like pro-America? I'm actually kind of confused by this. His Metro video is much better. Oh, he did a Metro video? Like, I genuinely don't understand what he's doing. Like, what? Is there a market for this in America? Are people in America like, yeah, we love Russia that much? Like, what? Is this treason? Least insane liberal. No, it's not treason, brother. I mean, it should. This is not. I think that it's interesting. Like, I would love to go to.
But why is it? He's not loving Russia, obviously. It's just like, why is everything so expensive in the U.S.? Why are you squeezing us so hard? Like, is Hasan gonna disagree that rent prices are exorbitant? Is Hasan gonna disagree with the massive inflation that's taking place in this country? Is Hasan gonna disagree that, you know, he would like an American who makes A comparable wage to a Russian guy? What is that, by the way? 750 a month times 12. 750 times 12. $9,000 a year. Okay. So if you like a part-timer server could make about that much, would make more, probably closer to 13. Yeah, that is a very poor country. I can't disagree with that. Russia is a very poor country. Okay.
Russia and see how people are living in. But overall, it's like very odd. He's like, look at how great things are. Dude, I swear to God, there's nothing funnier than looking at Russia as a place that has no crime and no drugs, where things are very stable. Like, what the... By the way, everything he's doing in Russia, he could do in China, for the record.
We're standing in front of the Kievskaya metro station, and there's a train station next to it. Now, the metro station was built by Joseph Stalin 70 years ago. And the question is, how's it doing now, after 70 years? So we went into it to take a look, and what we found shocked us.
What is this music that he's playing? He's just walking into the metro station. Why is it like he's doing like a secret covert mission? Like, motherfuckers out here acting like he's Sam Fisher or something for walking into the metro? What?
There's no graffiti, there's no filth, there are no foul smells, there are no bums or drug addicts or rapists or people waiting to push you onto the train tracks and kill you. No.
That's cute, though. That's like a cute little mouse. That's a cute...
It's not cute. No, it's not.
Cute rat, dude. Let the rat eat his churros, man. Chill.
It's perfectly clean and orderly. And how do you
Rats aren't cute.
explain that? We're not even going to guess. That's not our job. We're only going to ask the question. And if your response is to shout at us slogans dumber than the slogans we used to call Soviet and mock, that's not really an answer.
There's nothing I despise more than a libertarian reactionary piece of going to...
Isn't Hasan a communist? Like, this is he's shitting on a communist country while being a communist. Hold on. Is Hasan communist? Socialist. Whatever.
To a country with like good foundations as far as like public transit goes, directly as a consequence of the USSR, mind you, simultaneously coming back to America and continuing his endless endeavors against public transit. It's like, you're such a bad person, dude. You're a piece of... He's literally doing what Stalin intended with the Metro broadcast, Moscow Rod, wealth and infrastructure to show Russia strong, Lamau. How are you gonna say that like public transit is gross and disgusting in America? By the way, also simultaneously talking about like how there's no crime or homeless people in Russia is also, once again, I have to repeat this.
Because they're dead. Yeah.
There's definitely crime and homelessness in Russia. What the is he saying?
So we'll stop the lecture and let you take a look for yourself at what the Kievskaya metro station in Moscow, Russia looks like today, February 2024, in the middle of a war.
We already watched this video. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
From to this
Ascension, wow.
Oh my god. I do not support Project Ascension. I am not affiliated with these doofuses. I hope they die.
central planning goes such a long goddamn way, dude. And to be fair, we haven't ever stopped central planning. We just changed who we care about in said central planning. Will this radicalize hogs into believing that public transit could be good? Maybe. I don't think so. Probably not. Oh, by the way, yeah, here it is. Here's a station in the Kiev metro system that serves Kiev, the capital city of Ukraine. The station was opened as a part of the first segment of the Siretsko-Pecherska line on the 31st of December 1989. It serves as a transfer station. The original design plans for the station call for a clean utilitarian structure typical of metro stations of that period. It's very, very frustrating. The Tucker YouTube videos are going to be a content goldmine, I think. I mean, he should just stay in Russia and keep pumping these bad boys out, I think. I can't believe this got 1 million views in like 2 days, too. What are the comments saying? I'm Italian. Every time I return a trip from Russia, I try to explain to my friends how much order there is in the city. There are many attractions and impressive buildings, and the people are peaceful. I guess one of the biggest problems here in America is that even our big cities that are supposed to be like very obviously massively wealthy have a ton of economic insecurity and income and wealth inequality that show.
It's that same thing. Like, our best cities have, you know, first class jobs or first world jobs, first world, the best shit, third world workforce. I mean, it's like the Arab Emirates, how they have like Filipino maids because they're so cheap.
That shows in the form of like, homelessness everywhere. Yeah, if you go to any tier 1 Chinese city, you will get this times 1,000. Obviously, a major difference there between a Chinese tier 1.
Right, and he's saying that like if you go to China, you'll see the exact same thing. But he's in Russia, one of these places where they've said this, and he's not seeing it. And I think that's exactly what I'm thinking. And I'm wondering if maybe it's like the effect that, oh, hold on. Do you guys remember? I think it's Gavin Newsom. Newsom cleans up San Francisco. Like, did you see this? So, I want to see some videos.
Governor
Oh, this is the news. I can't show the news. This video will get taken down. Hold on. Homeless disappear. San Francisco. Deleted by user. Interesting. Deleted by the person who posted it. What the fuck? That's so weird. No, that's not what I'm looking for. That's so... Why can't I find any of the videos that I saw before? This is the problem with Google, is I find stuff one day and then it's gone the next. I don't want to look at the New York Post because I don't trust it and it's covered in ads. Dread Addict... Don't you play that video. Don't you fucking play that video. I can't stop the video. Okay. Drug addicts, dealers, and homeless who have plagued San Francisco's downtown have miraculously disappeared this week as the city cleans up for a huge international event. Sources tell the Post the homeless have been pushed to other parts of the city in preparation for the Asia-Pacific Economic Conference, APEC Summit, which starts tomorrow and runs through November 17th. However, residents and business owners said city officials' attempt to herd transients and drug addicts is only a band-aid to a severe problem as drug overdoses continue to plague the city. The city are focused on 7 intersections in the Tenderloin and South of Market, or Soma, neighborhoods, which is home to some of the more congregated encampments where drug-addicted people high on fentanyl and heroin can be seen passed out on the street every day. They started clearing tents earlier this week, and there is definitely a lot more police presence, Soma resident and community activist Richie Lee Wynn told the Post. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what is this? City and County of San Francisco will be resolving the encampment listed below on the following date. During the encampment resolution, we will provide access to shelters, safe sleeping villages based on eligibility, outreach workers from the Department of Homelessness and Support, blah, 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 urgent medical and psychiatric care, housing assessment, yada, yada. Okay. Nancy Pelosi... Now they're putting up steel grates. Okay. I mean, yeah, whoa. Yeah, you see this? This is what I'm talking about. Before homeless tents at 7th Street Mission are located across the street from Nancy Pelosi's federal building in San Francisco on August 27, 2023. The homeless tents previously occupied the street across from Nancy Pelosi's federal building in San Francisco was cleared this week in preparation for APEC Summit. Everything was cleaned up. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about, is like there's no effort from our government to actually help people. Like all those people need us, you know? Like I don't resent the homelessness in this country. I don't put the blame on the people. I think someone needs to receive those who cannot provide for themselves. I mean, and this is gonna sound fucking the way it sounds, but in nature, you lived if you were around people. You lived if you had a village. You lived if you could make it to a city. If you were a farmer in the countryside, you had to find the nearest castle or town or lordship. You had to find the wealth. You either had to make wealth or find wealth and barter. And these people have nothing to offer. They can't even do like the most basic of work, and they can't find that kind of work. Like the waste management here in this country is so high. You need like a technician with degrees and certifications, and there's no place for a homeless guy who at the very baseline can shovel shit. That's all he's got. Like that, these people have been around for a long time, and there's nothing in society that can sustain them or use them. I mean, they would just linger around shoveling shit, getting drunk, until they eventually get on top of some woman and force them to have a kid. And there was no control over that. There was no control over that prior to what? When was the first contraceptive? First popular contraceptive? I don't know how to spell this. 1960s. So 1960 is the first time women could even begin to control whether or not they were going to have a kid. 1960. That's what? 64 years ago. 64 years ago out of, what year is it? 2024? Anyway. Let's get back to Hasan.
One city versus like the Chinese countryside. A similar issue persists in Russia as well.
That's how I got there. He brings up, it's possible that Putin could have done what Gavin Newsom did and just moved all the the undesirables out of town.
And in many places, except in America, we don't even have like good propaganda areas that we could show as like a positive, if that makes sense.
I ordered, I'm embarrassed.
We don't have good propaganda areas. What about San Francisco and that thing I just showed?
I ordered a cheeseburger, I ordered 2 cheeseburgers, large Coke, large fries, and a chocolate cake. We're back in the van. We've just come back from the Ersatz Moscow McDonald's. Tasty, that's it.
I'm losing my mind with him constantly comparing the prices in Russia to American prices. That's so funny.
I'll admit, I have not been to a fast food.
This being said, this does make me feel way better about being in America rather than Russia. Like, that's kind of, and I think I've said this in other episodes where I figured out that, like, yeah, it sucks being in America sometimes, but there's no threat of some other country big dogging us. When you're an American, you are the big dog. Like, we go to another country and we can just be like, shut up, I'm American, fuck you. And people in other countries tend to love us. I mean, I've heard accounts from other Americans going overseas. I mean, if you're my friend who's Asian went to Italy, and apparently they're very rude to Asians over there. So there is that.
place in quite some time.
Tucker Carlson doesn't understand how like currency exchange rates work. Tucker Carlson doesn't understand how like in other countries things are, especially food, is like going to be a lot cheaper. Obviously wages are going to compare to the price of the food. I don't know how to describe this to someone.
So I'm not exactly current on the prices, but here's what it cost in Moscow. 647 rubles. That is exactly $7.05, I think. And for that, we got 2 cheeseburgers, large fries, large cola, Coke knockoff, and a piece of chocolate cake. Just couldn't resist. Is that healthy? No. Now, I should say Putin banned GMO foods in Russia 4 years ago. I didn't ask about that. I probably should have. But so maybe we're in a little better shape. I'm not.
Hasan doesn't have a comment on that? Hasan doesn't have a comment on that. Why did they ban... Why did Russia ban GMO foods? The law expands the right of the executive government to prohibit the importing of GMOs and products containing GMOs into Russia because of the potential harmful impact of such products on humans or the environment. Okay. How many countries have banned GMOs? 26 countries. Did Italy ban GMOs? Italy. Okay. France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Russia, China, and India. Again, makes me think that this country is all about getting taxpayer dollars, not about helping the people in this country.
Not sure. Anyway, here's what we have.
Which, going back to what I was saying earlier, if there is no, like Japan, it's very easy. Most people in Japan are Japanese. But if you ask most Americans, they don't say that they're American. They say, oh, I'm half Italian, I'm this, I'm that, and blah, 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 blah. I'm everything but this. Even though their family's been in America for a long time. We have no idea. There's no culture of being an American. And whenever there is that culture, it's highly criticized and called racist and all these things. Let's go.
We have for that. Let's first go to the fries. McDonald's most famous product, the fries. These are tasty, that's it, Siberian-owned Russian fries. Everybody knows what a McDonald's French fry tastes like, so it's not going to be hard
to... On anything and everything that literally CIA operatives, like his father worked for the State Department, and then he's turning around and after spending his entire career on anything and everything that was like remotely socialist, going to a country like Russia and showcasing public transit is disgusting to me. It's disgusting. You've dedicated your entire professional career.
I don't really know who Tucker Carlson is. I know that he got in trouble and then got fired and now he's doing good. So to me, he's sort of like this anti-mainstream media sort of figurehead, kind of like, he's like diet Alex Jones to me.
Career in America.
He's like one step out of, you know, Hasan and Tucker Carlson are like equal in my mind. Like they're kind of like on the same wavelength. Hasan is just like a younger Tucker Carlson to me. So of course he does, you know, YouTube boxing and all that other nonsense.
America, to make sure that Americans can never get a touch of what he's showcasing. Why do sanctions not work in Russia but do in MENA? Libya, by the way, because they still have oil and gas for the most part, and they already have those McDonald's there. But also, it doesn't even, what do you mean MENA? Like, what are you talking about? They already have like trade relations. They have a connection to China, like a very solid connection to China. As far as like sanctions though, I mean, you could make a video like this in Iran. You can make a video like this anywhere. You could literally go to Iran and go to like a McDonald's style burger joint and eat the burgers there and be like, look how fucking wonderful the burgers are. That doesn't mean that like the sanctions don't harm the country, because they of course do. It's okay to say you don't know, Hasan. It's okay. You don't have to on, are you? Your libs won't stop calling you a Putin shill regardless. Wait, what do you mean? I'm not Russia at all. I just said I would love to go to Moscow and look at the metro station. I'm saying I'm literally jealous that he gets to do this. I think it's awesome. But that's not because of Russia. That is a Stalin-era Soviet metro station that he walked into and then showed Soviet propaganda mosaics that show like racial harmony, okay, that promote racial harmony, and then presented it as a good thing. Everything you on in America, he's presenting as a good thing because it exists in Russia. It's very frustrating. It is a demonstration that solid fundamentals when it comes to social safety nets and public transit and things of that nature have staying power. Far after the country has been decimated by vulturous capitalist bankers, you still have the remnants of something that was great, that's still working.
Look, I'm not saying one's
Did you say Stalin was great?
better than the other. I'm just trying to let you know what life under sanctions, once Tony Blinken has written your country out of the civilized world, how do you live? Not bad. All right, I'm just finishing my Mick Breck.
But that's by language, right? I mean, that doesn't even showcase the actual ethnicity. Do you think the part of Russia that's right next to Japan and Korea might not have some white people in it? Do people think the part of Russia that's right next to Japan and Korea might not have some non-white people? Yeah. People don't know this, but Alex in Australia, Australian Alex is like, I think his family's like Chinese, but also Russian. There's a lot of dudes that look like him that live in Russia too, not Alexa. I don't think people understand how big Russia is and how much territory.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. I'm just gonna let's go into the Putin interview just a little bit.
The president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, shot February 6, 2024 at about 7 p.m. in the building behind
is that a green
us,
screen,
which is,
or
of course,
is
the Kremlin.
He's really there?
The interview, as you will see if you watch it,
Where the
is
fuck is he?
primarily
Where is
about
he standing?
the war in progress, the war in Ukraine, how it started, what's happening, and most presently, how it might end. One note before you watch. At the beginning of the interview, we asked the most obvious question, which is, why did you do this? Did you feel a threat, an imminent physical threat? And that's your justification. And the answer we got shocked us. Putin went on for a very long time, probably half an hour, about the history of Russia going back to the 8th century. And honestly, we thought this was a filibustering technique and found it annoying and interrupted him several times. And he responded he was annoyed by the interruption. But we concluded in the end, for what it's worth, that it was not a filibustering technique. There was no time limit on the interview. We ended it after more than 2 hours. Instead, what you're about to see seemed to us sincere, whether you agree with it or not. Vladimir Putin believes that Russia has a historic claim to parts of Western Ukraine. So our opinion would be to view it in that light, as a sincere expression of what he thinks. And with that, here it is. Mr. President, thank you. On February 22nd,
By the way, very Russian area. Like, I don't know if you're noticing sort of like the way things look and the design of it, like the architecture, and just like the gold and the white. It's very specific and it feels very Russian. Almost like when I talk about these other like Middle Eastern countries, very specific look. Let's go.
2022, you addressed your country in a nationwide address when the conflict in Ukraine started. And you said that you were acting because you had come to the conclusion that the United States, through NATO, might initiate a, quote, surprise attack on our country. And to American ears, that sounds paranoid. Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was going to launch a surprise strike on Russia.
Also, I thought he had Parkinson's. Like, that's something that must have been propaganda. Like, hearing that he has, like, cancer or Parkinson's. He looks just as healthy as Tucker.
Are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you. It's a formidable serious talk.
Because your basic education is in history, as far as I understand.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, I will take only 30 seconds or 1 minute to give you a short reference to history for giving you a little historical background.
Please.
Let's look where our relationship with Ukraine started from. Where did Ukraine come from? The Russian state started gathering itself as a centralized statehood, and it is considered to be the year of the establishment of the Russian state in 862.
That's hilarious that he's like 1 minute, 30 seconds to just talk about where this is in 862. What?
When the townspeople of Novgorod invited a Varangian prince, Rurik, from Scandinavia to reign. In 1862, Russia celebrated the 1000th anniversary of its statehood. And in Novgorod, there is a memorial dedicated to the 1000th anniversary of the country. In 882, Rurik's successor, Prince Oleg, who was actually playing the role of regent at Rurik's young son, because Rurik had died by that time, came to Kiev. He ousted two brothers who apparently had once been members of Rurik's squad. So Russia began to develop with two centers of power.
Oh my god, this is so fucking boring. I'm sorry. This is what I mean when I say that, like, politics is just exhausting to me. I'm like, what is... I honestly could not repeat what he was just saying to Tucker. I was too focused on the earpiece. And, like, what kind of technology is that? Like, how is he... Like, I'm trying to figure out how this is working. Tucker is looking right at him. He's speaking English. Putin's speaking Russian. Obviously, that thing is some sort of translator, but I don't see anything in Tucker's ear. So is it repeating it out loud in English to Tucker? Like, how is this working?
Kiev and Novgorod.
The
next very significant date in the history of Russia was
Trades it for one of its own intel guys that
to persuade him. I think he's a smart person. I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules.
Oh, I heard about this too. This is the part where Tucker says, hey, you have someone that we know is not... You have someone that you claim is a spy, and they're not. Can you release them, please?
Humanity has to consider what is going to happen due to the newest development in genetics or in AI.
Wait,
One
what?
can make an approximate prediction of what will happen. Once mankind felt an existential threat coming from nuclear weapons, all nuclear nations began to come to terms with one another since they realized the negligent use of nuclear weapons.
I'm kind of blown away with what he just said a second ago. Did he say... Did he just bring up like the changing of the human genetics? He said that, right? Like, am I the only one that's kind of blown away by that? Like, if you're listening...
Once mankind felt an existential threat coming from nuclear. I think there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit.
Oh.
Nevertheless, you need to find some common ground with him, search for ways to persuade him. I think he's a smart person, I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules.
Okay. Something I totally missed. I'm not going to go back and figure out what they're talking about. But what was this that he just said?
Humanity has to consider what is going to happen due to the newest development in genetics or in AI.
Humanity has to determine what's going to happen due to the developments in genetics and AI. What does that mean, Putin? What? This is a world leader. What is he doing? What does he think is doing? What does he know people are doing? Because I've heard of... Oh my god, dude. I don't like to reference Alex Jones. God, my brothers really fucked me by by being conspiracy theorists. Oh, man. But I know that they are doing... I mean, the Nazis experimented on human beings, like crossbreeding them with pigs and cows, which is super fucked up. But that's wild. That is super wild what he's bringing up. Oh my God. Like humanity might look and be something very different in 100 years because of what we have developed. If we're still around by then. I'm scared. This was a fun episode. This was a heated episode for me. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.